It's finally happening. The Giants are playing the Dodgers in the postseason. The Giants sent the Dodgers to the wild card game by winning the division, winning 107 games. The Dodgers won 106, and yet they had to play in that wild card game. So their punishment for not winning the division was that they were subjected to potential elimination, but they were not eliminated. They won their game on a walk-off home run. So now it's almost like it doesn't matter that they didn't win the division. The only thing is they had to use some pitchers on Wednesday. But this division series gets started on Friday. Fitting that, these two great teams would be duking it out here. A little bit not fitting that it's in the first round of the playoffs, but it is the first time these two teams are going to meet. The National League Championship may very well go through one of these teams. So we'll break it all down, and we'll hear from our new Locked On insider, Gordon Beckham, who breaks down the series as well. All of that coming up on today's Locked On Giants podcast.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants Baseball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on this show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, and I'm a lifelong fan. Thank you so much for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, now including YouTube. So thank you so much for checking us out there. The channel is growing fast, so thank you so much to the supporters on YouTube. And coming up on today's show, as I said, guess what we're going to talk about? The Dodgers won the wildcard game on a walk-off home run by Chris Taylor. So they are going to play the Giants in the National League Division Series. And man, is it a heavyweight matchup. The 107-win Giants against the 106-win Dodgers. It's the first time there's ever been a meeting between 105-plus win teams in the postseason. It's the most combined wins, regular season wins, of any postseason series ever. So it is like the penultimate, or not the penultimate, the ultimate heavyweight matchup here with these two teams going at it. And there's a lot of national interest, but a lot of the national coverage that I've seen just yesterday after the Dodgers won, I watched some of the postgame show on TBS, and I flipped over to MLB Network because I wasn't happy with some of the postgame coverage on TBS when they were talking about the Giants. These people on these networks, no offense to them, I guess, but they're like confused about the Giants. They're like, well, all season long, I just thought the Giants are going to fade away, but they didn't. And still, though, I'm not convinced, and I'm really not sure how they won 107 games. But, the Dodgers are so great, and I don't know. It's like they've never, it sounds like they have not watched a single Giants game all season long. And it also sounds like they don't know anybody over there. So the whole thing is just this big mysterious question mark. Like, how did they do that? And that irritates me because that's your job as a national analyst. Do some homework. The Giants, we've talked about it 1,000 times. I mean, it started with Farhan Zaidi getting hired in the 2018 winter time, and then all the different moves that he's made, and then Gabe Kapler coming in, and then the coaching staff that he brought in with a heavy emphasis on development, the hitting coaches, Donnie Ecker, Justin Veely, Dustin Lind, the pitching coaches, Andrew Bailey and JP Martinez, and on and on and on. This team, there's a reason they won 107 games. People who just say, it's just, veteran leadership, Buster Posey. Although Gordon Beckham, our MLB insider, former Major League player Gordon Beckham, played for the Giants in 2016, had like 6 plate appearances. He's going to, we're going to air a little bit of a, take he had for Locked On previewing this series. He talks about that veteran leadership, but he also understands what the Giants accomplished and gives them credit for it instead of being confused as to how they won 107 games. So anyway, that's just, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but basically on today's show, I want to play that clip from Gordon Beckham eventually, and then we'll break down what he says. And I also want to just give my take. And so my general take, just before I go into too much detail, is that the Dodgers are obviously a really, really good team. And this is going to be a very difficult series, just like it was a hard-fought, difficult regular season matchup with the Giants and Dodgers. The Giants went 10-9. They got swept, I think, twice, at least once. And then I do believe they were swept a second time. And the Dodgers, like I said, finished with 106 wins. Their run differential was plus 269. Giants' run differential was plus 210. So the Dodgers did have a significantly better run differential. They scored 830 runs. The Giants scored 804. So 26 more runs scored for the Dodgers. And the Dodgers allowed 561 runs, and the Giants allowed 594. So 33 more runs allowed by the Giants. So Dodgers scored more and allowed less. So, even though the Giants' record was 1 win better, there's reason to believe that, like, the Dodgers actually, I don't want to say had a better season, but their run differential was better. And that run differential for the Dodgers has an expected win-loss record of 109-53. That, I'd have to look back, but that's the best I've seen in a long time as an expected win-loss record based on that run differential. Giants, though, expected win-loss record of 103-59. So no slouch themselves. These two teams have earned it, and it's a heavyweight battle and one that is going to get a lot of attention. And I hope that that it's just competitive. I don't want to see the Giants get dominated. Not that it's just that the Dodgers are capable of going out there and dominating anybody. And so I just hope that the Giants are able to play them tough, just like they did all regular season. And we've talked about in the past how even during this stretch of dominance when the Giants were not good and the Dodgers were winning, the division every single year, the Giants played that team tough. And we looked back, Jeff Snyder of Locked On Dodgers and I looked back at the head-to-head record between these two teams since the Dodgers started winning all these titles, division titles in 2013. And the Giants and Dodgers are close to 500 against each other during that time. And the Dodgers are like 250 games over 500 against everybody else. So before this series starts, we'll dig those numbers up again. I do expect that I'm going to be talking with one of the hosts of Locked On Dodgers for tomorrow's show, so look out for that. But anyway, coming up next, we'll continue to preview this series. I will eventually get into some more numbers, like what the Dodgers hitting is like, starting pitching, who are the Giants going to be facing, the bullpen. We'll break it all down, and then, as I said, we're going to hear from former MLB player, former Giant, Gordon Beckham, who's going to give his thoughts on this upcoming series. So all of that coming up next, but first, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure the often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? Is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. So why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the exact same parts from a chain store or car dealership? They have everything you could need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com. All right, as promised, we are going to continue to preview Giants-Dodgers in the National League Division Series. I'm pumped about it. As I said, though, I'm just hoping, not that I'm not like worried. Yes, I am. I'm worried. I don't want the Dodgers or the Giants to get embarrassed, mostly because I believe that the national media will run with it. If the Dodgers go out there and dominate in this series, people are going to discredit what the Giants accomplished this year, even though that's not really fair. But at the same time, if the Giants go out there and win this series, people are going to view the Giants as extremely legitimate because they won 107 games, they won the division, and then they beat the Dodgers again in the playoffs. I mean, that will be the ultimate. And so there's a lot kind of riding on this series, not to mention, kind of bragging rights between these two teams that have never met in the postseason. So I want to play the clip from Gordon Beckham, our new Locked On MLB insider, former Major League player, played for the Giants for a hot second in 2016. And he's got some good takes on this series. And so we're going to play that, and then we're going to react to it. And then I'll continue to kind of provide some numbers as I see it, compare the Giants and the Dodgers in several key categories. So without further delay, here is our new Locked On MLB insider, Gordon Beckham.
What's going on, everybody? This is Kim Becker with a Locked On Now Insider Report. The MLB Divisional Series are getting started, and here to break them all down for us is our MLB insider, Gordon Beckham. Gordon, how you doing?
I'm good, Kim. How are you?
Good. We're going to talk about the last wild card game that brought us to this scenario, the Dodgers with a dramatic ending over the Cardinals. How do you think that momentum is going to carry on for their new series against the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, what an ending to the game that we just saw, and it's pretty amazing to watch the Dodgers do what they do. I mean, every year they're just pumping out wins, right? I mean, that was an electric game in Dodger Stadium, and now they got to go up to the Bay to face the team that basically made them have to do that play-in game in the Giants. And I just looked at the schedules when they were finishing the season. You had the Dodgers 18-3. You had the Giants 22-5 to end the season. I mean, it's just stupid. Like some of the numbers here are unbelievable. I mean, for the Giants to hold off the Dodgers, it really shows you kind of what they're all about. But it is going to be an awesome series. I think everybody kind of wanted to see it, and we got it.
Well, let's talk about some other stupid numbers. The Giants, with such a historic season, 107 wins. What do you think the biggest factor to their success was this season?
I think they've got a great mix, right? They've got a good mix of young guys, old guys. They kind of came out of nowhere, and generally when teams come out of nowhere, they start off really hot and then they kind of fizzle out. And the Giants never did. I almost kind of expected it because they're just a team that wasn't expected to be this good. But I think it's veteran leadership, and when you have Buster Posey behind the plate, it adds a certain element to a lineup. I mean, he's been there, he's done that, he's won 3 World Series. You've got Longoria at third base. You've got some guys sprinkled in all over. Bryant's big trade to come over, although he hasn't played great. There's just the offense is good. You've got guys like Lamont Wade Jr. stepping up, doing some things that nobody expected them to do. And then you've got their pitching, which is fantastic. They've done everything that they needed to do to get their team to where they want to go. And it's going to be a special series. I'm excited.
Well, sometimes when the expectations are lower, that's when these guys flourish. I mean, I think we can say that kind of across any sport, but it's always fun to kind of see that happen. So the underdog story, which they're not really underdogs this year. But
they're not. They're very good. 107. I mean, 107 wins. People don't understand how hard that is. I mean, it's just it, and the fact that they had to beat a team that had 106, that's pretty special.
Just nuts. And another statistic that's nuts. They were the team to have the most home runs in the National League while also giving up the fewest. I mean, how do you even begin to attack this team in this series?
Yeah, I think that if there's a team to do it, it's the team that won
Yeah.
106 games. I mean, what I see from the Giants is just the fact that they just show up every day and they play and they're the same team and they have fun doing it. I really think that I'll get back to it. I think Buster Posey's a big reason for it. He's a veteran presence. He's been around. He's done it. He's got other guys sprinkled in that have done it. But the Dodgers are no slouch. I mean, the Dodgers they have all the big names. I mean, you kind of have little, like, in a way, the people that have all the big names, you got, Goliath over there in the Dodgers, and then you got little David over here just racking up wins, and everybody thinks they're going to fade, and they never do. And so I think that the part of the trial by fire that they went through is going to have them fully prepared for this series. I, I honestly, I think that any baseball fan, if they're a serious baseball fan, will want to tune into these games.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I got to hear this one then. What's your prediction for this series?
I've gone back and forth like
Ooh.
15 times in my head when I've been thinking about this. I'm going to go with my good friend Buster Posey and the Giants. I think it's going to take 5 games, but I think that they're going to eke out a series victory against the Dodgers.
All right. Well, this one's definitely going to be fun. I hope that you and I can continue to chat about it as it goes on, because I'm sure you're going to have a lot more to tell us, and I'm very excited about it.
Can't wait, Kim.
All right. Thanks so much. And for everybody listening, make sure that you stay tuned to your local Locked On podcast for more insider analysis and local experts. Locked On, your team every day.
All right, that was Gordon Beckham and Kim Becker as well. And I just thought that Gordon Beckham there had some really good takes and just gave the Giants the respect that they deserve. He understands, he played the game. He understands you don't just fluke your way to 107 wins. He admits, like all of us, that this was unexpected, but gives them the respect and credit that they deserve. And ultimately he picked the Giants in 5. And if I had to make a prediction, that's kind of where I'm going to land as well. Obviously, the Dodgers are so good, like he said, they're no slouch. But the Giants just have had something special. These two teams have really. This is like a battle for the ages, and it's appropriate that it was so close. The Giants won 107, the Dodgers won 106. The head-to-head matchup was 10-9 in favor of the Giants. And so, and what that means is that both teams had the same record against the rest of the league, and the difference was just that the Giants were 10-9 against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were 9-10 against the Giants. So their record against everybody else, and they played the same teams the same number of times, was the same. And the difference between 107 and 106 was just the head-to-head matchup. So this was as close as it gets. As I said, the Dodgers had the edge in run differential, but the Giants had the edge where it matters in the win column. And so it's going to be an excellent series, I hope. That's all I'm saying, is that I just want it to live up to the hype. And this is a series that has a lot of hype. Honestly, I think nationally, it's probably the series that has the most national interest. And so I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, it gets underway tomorrow. Logan Webb is going to start game 1. We learned that yesterday. Kevin Gausman is going to start game 2. So coming up next, we'll talk about what the Dodgers are going to do from a pitching perspective. And as I promised, we're just going to look at how these teams compare in some critical statistical categories. So stay tuned for that. But first, we're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back on the football field for another season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, as promised, we are going to dig into some of the numbers that define these two teams and how they compare, and we'll get you set for this upcoming series. And so the first place that I tend to always look is non-pitcher weighted runs created plus. It's just an all-encompassing offensive metric. 100 is league average, and we're taking pitchers out of the equation to just look at, players who are actually in there to hit, not the guys who are in there to pitch. And the Giants ended the season at 114, meaning 14% above league average offense as a whole. That's really good. It was second in Major League Baseball behind only the Houston Astros. The Dodgers, however, 1 point behind them at 113. So that's pretty much a wash. Offensively, these two teams were comparable is what that means, which is kind of crazy because if you look at the Dodgers lineup and you see Mookie Betts and Corey Seager and Trey Turner, Cody Bellinger batting eighth, Will Smith, AJ Pollock, it's just nuts what this Dodgers team rolls out there every day. And the fact that the Giants kind of edged them out from an offensive perspective is just insane. The Giants on base percentage as a team, again, excluding pitchers, was 337. Dodgers was 339. So that's basically a wash again. Giants isolated power 199, Dodgers 194. So amazingly, the Giants had a little bit of an edge in power, and the Dodgers had a tiny edge in on-base percentage. The Giants hit 240 home runs by their non-pitchers. Logan Webb added one, so they hit 241. Dodgers by their position players hit 237, so that's really close. Stolen bases, both teams had 65. The run game is not a huge part of the sport anymore. Dodgers had a couple of steals yesterday, or at least one. Cody Bellinger stole a base there in the bottom of the ninth, right before the Chris Taylor walk-off home run. So anyway, offensively, these teams kind of a wash. Defensively, the Giants came in at 2.6 runs above average per Fangraphs metric, and the Dodgers at negative 8.7. I don't usually use this metric. I've been using outs above average more, and the Giants came in higher than the Dodgers, but the Dodgers a good team from a defensive standpoint as well. In terms of base running, the Giants coming in at negative 6.1 runs above average. So base running, not the Giants' strength this season. The Dodgers came in as a plus 9.5 runs above average. So Dodgers, definitely give them the edge from a base running standpoint. When we look at the starting pitching, it's kind of like I shouldn't necessarily look at this because the Dodgers, they don't have Trevor Bauer anymore. Clayton Kershaw is also injured. So the Dodgers did have a 2.93 ERA by their starters, which was first in Major League Baseball. Giants all the way at 3.44. But if you look at just the guys who are going to be starting in this division series, and Logan Webb and Kevin Gausman going 1 and 2, and then it's probably going to be Alex Wood in Game 3, and then I would assume Anthony DeSclafani in Game 4 if there is a Game 4. So I would give the Dodgers maybe a slight edge or a significant edge potentially. They're going to have probably Walker Buehler in Game 1 and Julio Urias in Game 2, and then Max Scherzer in Game 3. Normally Scherzer would go sooner, but he started the wild card game, so he's not going to be available for another 4 or 5 days. So the good news is that you don't have to face Scherzer in a Game 1. The bad news is they have another ace in Walker Buehler. The good news there is that the Giants have gotten to Walker Buehler a little bit, including in a big way on Sunday Night Baseball recently. And the other bad news is that you're going to have to face Scherzer in Game 3, and it's probably going to be a mismatch if it's Scherzer against Alex Wood. But it is baseball. You never know what's going to happen. And, it becomes that much more important to at least win a game in San Francisco. You don't want to go down 0-2 and then have Scherzer versus Alex Wood. But anyway, the Giants bullpen came in first in Major League Baseball at 2.99. Dodgers bullpen came in second at 3.16. The Dodgers, again, have some of the big names. Blake Trinan, kind of big contract and really, really ridiculously good stuff. and they've got Kenley Jansen. The Giants are kind of a ragtag group that was just kind of pieced together, and they've just been excellent. So again, it's amazing. Just like on the offensive side, Giants kind of the pieces all fit, and everybody's good, and they're kind of extremely underrated. So it's the same in the bullpen and at the plate, I would say, in that regard. Dodgers have the star talent, but the Giants just win. And so it's an excellent matchup. Giants will be on the national stage. People will be paying attention. So I just really hope they show up and show what they're made of and show the national, baseball audience that this team is legit. You don't win 107 games without being legit. And so hopefully tomorrow, I still need to work out the details. We'll be talking with one of the hosts of Locked On Dodgers to really get into the weeds and preview this series, which gets underway on Friday night. So please come back for that. As I have said, we do these shows every single weekday, and we're free and available on all platforms. Thank you so much for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the majors, present and past. It is free and available on all platforms as well. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. You can follow me on Twitter at Ben Kaspick. That's Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it, leaving a review, liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, all of that good stuff. So thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone who's done so already. I can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. I can't believe we're doing Giants Dodgers NLDS. So I can't wait to be with you then. Thanks again for listening. You are now Locked On Giants.